back to homework help, and we're still in chapter 1, problem number 39. This is the beginning of our unit conversions. Okay, so this first problem is a fairly simple problem because we're only converting within the metric unit. Okay, and I know that that table in there can be a little bit on the tricky side, so we're going to sort of do this a little bit related to that and a little bit on our own. So I'm going to be giving you some conversions that I like to use instead of necessarily that table. The first one is 8.43 centimeters equals a certain number of millimeters. Okay, so the one that we can use in this, because millimeters and centimeters, we know from our ruler, we can just look at our ruler to know that 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. Okay, so we set up our unit conversion like so. We say 8.43 centimeters times 1 centimeter over 10 millimeters. Okay, and that enables us to see, we can cancel out our centimeters, one on the top and one on the bottom, and we're left with millimeters, and that becomes 84.3 millimeters. Okay, now we look at the next one. 2.41 times 10 to the 2 centimeters is equal to a certain number of meters. So we know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. Okay, these might be conversion factors that you'll want to use just to make your life a little bit easier. So we come over here and we say, okay, well, I have 2.41 times 10 to the 2 centimeters, and I set up my unit conversion. I didn't leave myself enough room here. 100 centimeters here to 1 meter. Okay, and then I can see that I have centimeters on the top, centimeters on the bottom, so I can cancel those, and I'm doing it correctly. And now I am going kind of in the other direction. So if I go ahead and type this into the calculator just to be real safe, I get 2.41 exponent 2 divided by 100, and that gives me 2.41. And that's because 2.41 times 10 to the 2 is 241. Okay, so this is 2.41 meters. All right, so we look at the next one. I'm actually going to do all of these because there's something that I want everybody to really have down very well. So the next one is 294.5 nanometers to centimeters. So what I'm going to do instead of using the table is I'm going to go all the way to meters and then backwards and sort of do the whole thing twice, mainly because that's going to enable me to use the conversion factors that I already know. So what I know is that 1 times 10 to the 9th nanometers in 1 meter and 100 centimeters from here in 1 meter. Okay, so I can run this together. So I start with 294.5 nanometers. Okay, now I use my first conversion factor that says 1 times 10 to the 9th nanometers and 1 meter. Okay, so now I've gotten rid of my nanometers, but I don't want it in meters, I want it in centimeters. So I say, okay, well, 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So I'm basically going back a little bit here. So I cross out my meters and I'm left with centimeters, so I know I'll get the right answer. Okay, so I come over here and I type into the calculator. Oh, the camera's having some trouble. 294.5 divided by 1 to the 9th equals, and then multiplied by 100 is 2.945 times 10 to the negative 5th. Okay, 2.945 times 10 to the negative 5th, and that's in centimeters. Okay, so that was number C, letter C, sorry. Okay, so let's come over here. I'll have to start working down below because I wasn't real careful. Our next one is 1.445 times 10 to the 4th meters, and we need to go to kilometers. Okay, so the one that we're going to use for that is that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. Okay, kilo means 1,000. Okay, and so we find this again. So it says 1.445 times 10 to the 4th meters, and I set up my unit conversion, and I have 1,000 meters on the bottom, so meters on the top, meters on the bottom, so they need to cancel. Gives me 1 kilometer. Okay, I cancel these out because I have one on the top and one on the bottom. Okay, we're going in that direction. Now, if I go ahead and put this in, now let's just talk about this for a second. So let's look at this. 1.445 times 10 to the 4th is the same as 14450, right? And just throw that in for a little bit of extra practice. When they're small like that, I like to just convert them instead of typing them in. Divided by 1,000, 14.45. 14.45 kilometers. I know a lot of you will be able to do some of these in your head, but I'm showing every step for practice. Okay, the next one that we have up here, E, is 235.3 meters is equal to a certain number of millimeters. Okay, so I haven't done that conversion factor yet. I'll kind of come over here and I'll say that there are 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. So we set up, we have 235.3 meters times, okay, so we have 1 meter here and 1,000 millimeters on top. Okay, and we set it up like that because the meters have to cancel out. Okay, so we have 235.3. Well, now we'll sort of do it in our head. Well, no, we'll do it on the calculator so it'll pop up the scientific notation for me, hopefully. And you'll be able to see that. 235.3 times 1,000. Oh, it didn't pop into scientific notation. That's okay. 235,300. Okay, now that's a pretty good size number. So let's go ahead and put that into scientific notation here. So we get 2.353, sorry about that, makes it hard to see, times 10 to the 5. And it's in millimeters. Okay, so we have one left. F is 903.3 nanometers to micrometers. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing where I go all the way back to my meters and then to micrometers, just because it ends up being kind of easy to use and you don't have to look at the table and figure out where you're going. Okay, so what we need to know for F is that, again, we already said this up here, that there's 1 times 10 to the 9th nanometers in a meter. Okay, and a micrometer is 1 times 10 to the 6th micrometers in 1 meter. Okay, so as we figure this out, we have 903.3 nanometers. I know my hands get in the way, sorry about that. Times, okay, so we said we had 1 times 10 to the 9th nanometers in 1 meter. Okay, so my nanometers are gone. Now I'm to meters, which is something that I can work with easily, times 1 meter. Now I'm going to use my other conversion factor here, and we have 1 times 10 to the 6th micrometers. Okay, and that just makes it kind of easy. I think that it's easier to throw in that extra step than to calculate something and hope I'm not wrong. Okay, so this one, I'm going to go ahead and use the calculator just so that I am on the safe side. I don't make any mistakes in the direction that I move my decimal. And I have 903.3 divided by 1 exponent 9. Okay, equals, okay, now I'm at 9.003 times 10 to the negative 7th. So then I'm going to multiply that by 1 exponent 6. Okay, so that's again how I'm putting scientific notation to my calculator, and that equals 0.9033. 0.9033. Okay, so that's a whole bunch of problems for number 39 for unit conversions.